What's up, guys? Welcome back. This is episode 6 of Sports Talk Soup. I'm Blair and my co-host Vito Churko. Vito, this week we got to hit the ground running, dude.
We do. I'm back in the fray, and we had Memorial Day, a long, nice weekend, 4-day weekend for me, pretty much. A lot of sun. I got some sun. I don't know if my skin looks like it got a little bit burnt, maybe, but I put on the suntan, the sun lotion.
It doesn't look burnt. It looks good. It looks good.
I look good. You look great, Blair.
Thank you.
And how about the NBA Finals now on tap? Game 1, Thursday night. And you have the Warriors, Cavs, a fourth time now, 4 straight years. Now that's the longest streak for a championship matchup in professional sports. In all 4 major professional sports leagues, history has been made in that respect, where you have the two of them playing 4 straight years in the NBA Finals, Blair. And people had thought that one of those two, I think for a while, even myself, that at least one of those two would not get to the finals this year.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, if I must say, it started looking like Cleveland wasn't going to make it. I mean, LeBron, game in and game out, he's looking like he's carrying the whole team on his back. But guess what? All of the naysayers were put to silence in that fourth quarter of the 7th game, and they won. It was King James and his court, if you will say. Is that even right, Vito? Is that how you say that?
You know what? Honestly, I think you can say that, and LeBron took over. I mean, the others, where were they? Kevin Love, concussion symptoms, had to sit out the majority of Game 6, sat out all of Game 7, and the Cavs still do it because of LBJ. Even on the road, he gets it done in Beantown, and honestly, I think the Celtics showcased their youth. That's why they didn't get it done, and they had the injuries too. Kyrie Irving, Gordon Hayward missing all the playoffs, and they had to play without all those guys, and they still made it to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, and I was still believing for a while there, Blair, that the Celtics would get it done and get to the finals to play Golden State, and Golden State had to come back too from 3 games to 2. I mean, look at that, and they won the last 2 to win their respective series, and there might have been a little bit of a choke job on the behalf of the Rockets in Game 7 too. Would you say that? At least in the third quarter, where Harden and the Rockets missed all these 3-pointers, and way too many of them consecutively too, Blair.
What's crazy is one of the things that I said about Harden is the fact that he was so accurate. He knows how to penetrate and get to the rim. It seems like third quarter, he kind of forgot who he was, and he started how many threes was he going to make and miss before he switched back to his game? Unfortunately, I do think it was too late. It was too late. So he got out of his groove, and the Warriors took Game 7.
They did. You know what? They were the better team. I mean, they showcased their dominance. They have had all these great third quarters. I mean, their shooting prowess, where they just go off. And they shoot the lights out. And they did it again in Game 7. Steph Curry, all those corner threes. Klay Thompson in Game 6 did what Steph really did in Game 7. But you had him still producing. Kevin Durant, maybe not as much. And I think the thing is that's funny about Kevin Durant and these, people that were calling him out is that they would have really called him out and called him a choke artist. If they wouldn't have gotten to the NBA Finals this year, people would have blamed it largely on KD. Even though Draymond Green, let's not forget about Dre here, because Dre did not perform the greatest all throughout the Western Conference Finals this year.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of pressure on KD to step up and win. I saw some memes. I saw people chattering, kind of saying, if the Warriors do not win this Game 7, they never wanted to hear any KD and LeBron in the same conversation again. Did you feel that way, Vito?
I think so. I think KD would have lost a lot of respect and credibility as a big-time performer and as the, perhaps, arguably the best player in the NBA, which I still believe is LeBron James. Come on. LeBron James, come on. It's
LeBron.
him, right? It's him.
LeBron James.
It's not KD. KD is number 2, I think. And I think LeBron showed why he's the number 1 player in all of the land throughout the playoffs, and specifically in the Eastern Conference Finals, willing his team to the finals for a 4th straight summer. Once again, as I already said, and he deserves a lot of credit. And really, it's easy to say this, majority of the credit for the Cavaliers getting to the finals, 75% of it, could you say, is attributed to LeBron James and his play throughout the Eastern Conference Finals and throughout the postseason completely?
For sure. I would not take any credit away from LeBron James at all.
And we have a guest now joining us in Detroit Mercy Hall of Famer and all-time leading scorer, Rashad Phillips. Rashad, how are you doing?
Looks like we got a little...
And we we lost connectivity with Rashad Phillips. Now, we'll have him call back in. And Rashad Phillips is a guy that I did an internet radio show with back in the day. And if you saw me on my phone, I was trying to communicate with Rashad to get him on the dang airwaves here. On episode number 6, we're at now, Sports Talk Soup, which is just crazy how time has zoomed by. And we're still enjoying it, enjoying life, even despite some difficulties here with whatever you want to call it. And we'll truck through it because we're professionals.
You know what
Especially
I'm
you,
say?
Blair.
Let's just do old school. Why don't you call him up? He's your guy. You guys co-hosted a show together. Call him up. Let's see if we can get him on the line.
Should we just do it that way?
I think so. And you know what? While you're doing that, I think it's interesting because we talked about the greats and we're talking about Katie, LeBron.
Yeah,
you
all
hear
these big
LeBron
names.
and MJ. I want to, if we can get back to it later in the show, what's up with hearing Kobe?
Well, you wanted to
great
talk
debate.
about that, didn't you? Because the GOAT debate is all about MJ and LBJ. How about KB, 24, Kobe Bryant? He deserves some recognition, you're saying. Now, I don't know if I really believe that. He was a great shot artist, clutch guy, but LeBron's been clutcher. MJ was clutcher. Come on, Blair.
I'm not saying he deserves it. I just think it's a hot topic right now, and I think that several people on opposite ends of the fence had great comments to add to that. You know, one of the things is, or, you know, for the people who say that he doesn't belong there, it's like Kobe was more about himself. He wasn't about the team. So can you say that about LeBron James and Michael Jordan? And
Well, Kobe Bryant was a lot about himself, I think, actually. He didn't really help out his teammates as much as LBJ.
And
LBJ is a dish artist, too. I mean, he's a triple-double machine. Kobe Bryant wasn't averaging a triple-double ever, recording as many consecutively or just on average as LeBron has showcased the ability to do so and has done throughout this year's playoffs once again willing his team to the finals. And you know what? They deserve to make it. Okay, so we're all happy for the Cavs now. But, you know, I'm not totally happy for the Warriors because the Rockets, I think, choked it, and Chris Paul being out those last 2 games of the series really cost the Rockets dearly, in my opinion, Blair.
Boy, would that have made a difference. We don't know. We'll never get the chance to know, but I really believe that Chris Paul's presence was missed out on the floor. Definitely. He's such a leader. You can see him even from the bench. He's talking to the refs. He's coaching up the team. So imagine on the floor, someone who's able to kind of level the guys out, focus them. You know, I don't think the third quarter would have looked the way it looked with Harden.
If CP3 was out there, with his floor general ability, leadership skills, which they were lacking. Then Ryan Anderson had a play. Did you see him trying to defend Steph Curry? Steph Curry was going around him left and right, and Steph Curry kept draining threes once again. He found his corner, and he couldn't miss there for a while. And they had a barrage of three-pointers made, and the Warriors simply took over and ran away with the game after that third quarter was done, Blair.
Yeah, very, very interesting dynamics out there. I think the third quarter definitely is where we saw things change, and that's what made the difference. But it shouldn't have been a surprise because Golden State is known for third quarter shows.
Absolutely. And let's try to get Rashad Phillips on the line now. And we'll put him on speaker here just to try this out. This is all new to us, by the way. We are trying to learn some stuff on the run, on the job here, I guess you could say. And let me get into this.
Yes, Mr.
Rashad Phillips, my man, let's see. We're dialing him up right now, live on episode number 6 of Sports Talk Soup. Rashad Phillips, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fantastic, Vito. How you doing?
I'm very good, man, and let's get you on the airwaves here. Rashad is the Detroit Mercy all-time leading scorer, Detroit Mercy Hall of Famer, a guy that I co-hosted an internet radio show with way back in the day now, I like to say. Rashad, glad to have you on. A pleasure, as you're the first caller for Blair and I's TV show, Sports Talk Soup.
Hi, Mr. Phillips. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Nice to meet you through the airwaves.
You as well. Thanks so much for calling in. We're sorry about those technical difficulties, and our audience can see us here. We've got it kind of rigged up. And got the phone
It's a rigged job. We're trying to work this out, Rashad. No problemo here.
Yeah.
So, you know what? We got to look. I mean, first and foremost, the thing that comes to my mind, I already brought it up here, is that the Rockets lost the series because of CP3 missing the final 2 games of the Western Conference Finals. What do you have to say about that?
I actually have to agree with you. I mean, if you look throughout the series, the best player and the most consistent player on the floor throughout the series was Chris Paul. Anytime Houston needed a big shot, anytime Houston needed to make a big decision, the ball was always in his hand. And on the defensive side of the ball as well, he was also consistent. So when they lost him, you lost your leader. It's like in football, when you lose a Tom Brady, you lose a Aaron Rodgers, you lose a Russell Wilson. Those type of guys are irreplaceable.
Now, I mean, I look at this, too, in Game 7 as being a Rockets choke job. I mean, in the third quarter of Game 7, they didn't hit a three to save their lives. James Harden looked horrible from three-point range, and he almost lost the game for the Rockets single-handedly, and it wasn't just him, obviously, and they lacked the presence of CP3 once again. We already discussed it here. But, I mean, James Harden had to step up and be a bigger performer than he was down the stretch there in Game 7, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call it a choke job. They got all the way to Game 7. I just believe that over time, when you watch James Harden play from a scouting standpoint, is that he gets a bit predictable. He gets where he's going to dance with the ball a few times, and it's either going to be a step-back three-point shot or a drive all the way to the basket. And once Golden State started to figure out his cadence, it allowed Golden State to kind of lock in and make him take some tougher shots throughout the series. Now, for the other guys on the Houston team, they did a lot of standing and watching throughout the regular season. So if you're a guy on the Houston team, you're doing a lot of watching, which I call tourist basketball. So when that ball finds you, you're cold. So the P.J. Tuckers, the Trevor Arizas, and those type of guys, they could not find their rhythm because they were watching James Harden dance with the ball a lot.
Well, Eric Gordon was almost their best player at times in moments, down the stretch in that series. And, I mean, that shouldn't be the case. But like you said, Ariza, P.J. Tucker, others, they didn't get the shots or, they didn't get enough looks where they were able to stay hot and stay irrelevant shooting the basketball. And it hurt them dearly, in my opinion. And then transitioning to the Golden State Warriors. I mean, everybody hyped them up. They had the great regular season where the Rockets were the number one seed. And they outdid the Warriors at times throughout that Western Conference Finals, as we already discussed here. And honestly, they didn't look like a true dynasty, a team that just has won 2 out of 3 finals and going into its 4th straight finals appearance, representing the Western Conference Finals. Western Conference. What do you have to say about that, Rashad?
Yeah, I just when I look at the Warriors, I see a team that was complacent, bored, and was looking ahead of Houston. So one thing about winning, regardless of whatever sport it is, there will be that creep of complacency that gets there, that boredom, and I think we were watching it unfold before our eyes with the Golden State Warriors. Are they still a great team? Absolutely. They have great players? Absolutely. But they're still humans, and I just believe throughout the season they were completely bored through the regular season. So imagine playing 82 games bored, and then you get to the playoffs, and you're just like, can we just speed it up to June? So that's kind of the basketball that I saw from the Golden State Warriors this year. I think they're rejuvenated now after getting past the Rockets, and they're ready to play now.
Rashad, do you think that type of attitude can be a crutch or cause a problem as they face up against Cleveland? We all know Cleveland hasn't done so well. We all know that LeBron James has had to, come out and play a 5-man game in order to win it sometimes. Do you think that could be a problem mentally for the Warriors as they're preparing for the finals?
Absolutely. I believe when you're going up against one of the greatest players that ever played the game of basketball, I believe you can't make it a light switch. And I think Golden State, this first game will be a tell-on tomorrow playing against LeBron James, because it's not where, we can hit a light switch and then we're going to go against LeBron and we're all fine there. You have to mentally and physically prepare to play against those type of guys. And he's a once-in-a-lifetime player, so he's already beat them before in the past. So hopefully they strap their their boots on to be ready to play against LeBron tomorrow, because it could get ugly.
How impressive would it be, Rashad, for LeBron to win the finals, to win the championship this season with what he's had to do, willing his team to the finals with very little supporting cast? And Kevin Love as well, missing most of Game 6, missing all of Game 7. There's no Kyrie Irving there. There's no great secondary scorer outside of K-Love maybe, and not even consistently him throughout this year's playoffs. So how impressive would it be if LBJ pulled it off this season?
This will be one of the greatest feats that we've ever witnessed in sports history, not just basketball. Because of all those factors you just named.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to ignore how great LeBron James is as a basketball player, and his ability to continue to win year in and year out, regardless of his rotations, his teammates, the roster, the coaching staff, the GM. Like, you can swap all of those positions out and leave LeBron James as a constant, and you're going to find W's. So if he can climb this mountain here before our eyes, we will probably see the best feat in sports history if he beats Golden State.
I think so, too. I mean, it would be the most impressive Larry O'Brien trophy for him to hoist at the end of the finals if he did defeat the Warriors, who, I mean, they overmatched the Cavaliers in every facet imaginable almost. But they have perhaps the GOAT. A big argument, big debate going on right now that my co-host Blair Glover wanted to get into on this week's episode of Sports Talk Soup. LeBron James, is he the GOAT? Is it MJ? Is it another face such as Kobe Bryant? Blair wanted to bring him into the fray as well. What do you think about this GOAT debate? And does Kobe deserve inclusion in this debate too, Rashad?
Well, when you look at the facets of basketball, you have to chop it up into three generations. You have the Michael Jordan generation, you have the Kobe Bryant generation, and you have the LeBron James generation. These are three guys that dominated our era. So to answer your question about Kobe Bryant, absolutely, for the simple fact that this is a guy who didn't go to college, who kind of opened the door for a guy like LeBron James, that didn't go to college, came into the NBA, was talented enough to play early as a rookie, but when he went to the Lakers, Bill Harris kind of sat Kobe because he had Eddie Jones and those type of guys. So I believe that Kobe Bryant does belong in the conversation. I don't think he will win the conversation, but does he belong in it? Absolutely. 20 years with the same team, 5 championships. I mean, 5th in the NBA in scoring all time. I mean, that says a lot. I mean, the longevity, consistency to do that, absolutely you have Kobe Bryant in that conversation.
Thanks for settling that, Rashad. I appreciate it.
You know, Blair feels good. She made her day. So good job, Rashad. I appreciate you doing that.
I'm not here to decide who the GOAT is, but I actually think he opened up, and it's true. There's generational differences of opinions going on here. So you can't leave them out. You know, the generation that's saying MJ versus LeBron, you know, maybe they don't appreciate or even understand the impact that Kobe had on the court. So I'm not here to decide who the GOAT is, but I do think it's okay to include him in that conversation.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. I believe this generation, they have a little bit of maybe selective amnesia. and on top of that, when this generation saw Kobe Bryant, you know, you young folks, you pretty much saw Kobe Bryant on the tail end of his career. So when Kobe Bryant was in his most dominant phase, this generation was 6, 7, 8 years old. You know, so you have to take that into consideration as well. And obviously, guys wasn't born when Michael Jordan was playing.
No, I saw him with the Wizards. He wasn't the same MJ at that point. I know that much.
Yeah. See, so you saw him when he was with the Wizards, but see, I was watching him in 85, 86, 87 when he was scoring 63 on those tough Celtic teams and what have you. So I think LeBron James gets the nod because he's present right now. But we also have to dig through the generations and see that there's guys that opened up the door for LeBron. Kevin Garnett opened up the door for LeBron James. Tracy McGrady opened up the door for LeBron James. Michael Jordan opened up the door. So it's easier to walk through the fours when somebody else that's cut down the trees.
And you saw the elite Jordan, and he had to go up against some mighty tough Celtics and Pistons in the 80s, the Showtime Lakers in the 80s. LeBron now, people will say, at least throughout the Eastern Conference, it's been a cakewalk. Now, having to defeat the Warriors, and when he did so, I mean, that was the most impressive finals that he has won.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he did play the Warriors. That was tough, but, you know, in the grand scheme of things, did Jordan have it tougher because of what he had to go through in the Eastern Conference? Or am I kind of forgetting that really when he went through the Eastern Conference in the 90s, it wasn't as tough at all?
Well, it depends on who you listen to. I mean, obviously, this is another generational question because it can be it's very opinionated. A lot of people say Michael Jordan didn't play against tough teams, which I tend to disagree. And I think LeBron James plays against tough guys as well. I mean,
Rashad? Let's see, another technical
it must
difficulty.
have been controversial.
Did we lose Rashad?
Whatever the
we'll
rest,
keep him right here in case he is still on the line.
What he was saying was controversial. But, Vito, as you can see, Rashad has excellent insight because he played the game. So he understands what it takes to be effective out there on the court. Whereas as fans, sometimes, if you don't play, you're looking at maybe surely the stats. You're not looking at the fact that somebody had to play up against mediocre talent. It's easier to climb the ranks when you're playing against mediocre talent versus a player who's playing a team like a Boston in MJ's day or a Golden State in today's time. So there are so many factors that go into the conversation, which is why I wanted to ask Rashad's opinion on that whole thing, because I think he's able to understand those intricacies of the game.
Well, how impressive, in your opinion, would it be for LeBron to win this year, despite a lackluster supporting cast, and to beat another really good Warrior squad in the finals? I think it would easily be his most impressive championship. You know, he's won 3 already. Going for number 4, if he gets number 4, man, I would be totally shocked. How about you, and how impressive would it be, in your opinion, too, if LeBron did pull it off this year, title number 4?
Oh, my gosh. You can't even put a number on how impressive it would be if LeBron James were to win another title versus the Golden State Warriors, being LeBron James with the personnel that he has. There is, and you know what? After this season, there is probably not ever going to be a chance to see that exact type of matchup again, the Cavs versus Warriors. I'm pretty sure the Cavs had so many changes during the season.
Yeah, all those trades, right?
Yeah, and
bringing in like Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance, Delta Wade, Dwayne Wade. You're right, Blair.
Yeah, and quite possibly we're going to see the biggest change they've seen in ages if LeBron James doesn't stay with the team, Vito.
Well, and that could really change up the Eastern Conference, wouldn't it? And now, you know, really quick, LeBron and Steph Curry, all these same faces, same 2 teams, 4th straight year now in the finals in June. Are we tired? Sick and tired of this matchup at this point, Blair? Are you, at least? Because I wanted to see a new team, at least one new team of these 2, not both being in the finals for a 4th straight season.
I will say I would not have minded to see a different team in the finals. You know, at first you're kind of like, oh man, you know, the same matchup, but there is that adrenaline rush you get to think about the odds that LeBron James and the Cavs are up against. So I'm getting more kind of settled into the fact that this is the finals this year. It's the Cavs, aka LeBron James, versus Golden State Warriors. So on first thought, I was excited at the idea that there would be a different matchup, but I'm A-okay with it because this is another opportunity for history to be made, and I get to watch it.
And you know what? 2 historical, not teams, but LeBron, historical player, best player, maybe, the GOAT, maybe. Warriors, a historical team. Perhaps a top 5, top 3 team in NBA history already, going for title number 3 for themselves. Now, title number 2 for Durant, since they've had him.
Yes.
And they won 2 in 3 years, so 2 of the last 3. LeBron has the 1 in the middle. They're sandwiched in the middle. For me, I'm sick and tired of it because you know what? You already had a best out of 3. Warriors already proved they were the superior team. They had the rubber match and won the best out of 3, 2 out of 3. So for me, I'm tired of the Warriors. I wanted to see them move on, move far away from the finals. or at least the Cavs to move far away. Now, I know the Celtics would have been overmatched too, and that's been a theme, right, of everybody's vocabulary when it comes to this matchup. But really, it would have been that way with the Celtics playing. So I guess you have the Cavs there, and that helps you out in terms of maybe a more intriguing matchup, and you have LeBron. But I still would have liked the new team, the new faces of the Celtics to get to the finals, at least to showcase what they're made, what they're worth, and to prove something, at least to the doubters out there, that they can hang in there with the mighty tough, no matter if it would have been the Rockets or the Warriors.
But Vito, do you actually think, and this is no downplay to the Celtics, but do you actually think they could have faced off against Golden State, or is that what you're saying? You wanted to at least see it?
Because I don't believe that they really would have stood a chance, but did the Cavs really stand a chance? I mean, we can get into that in a little bit later before the wrap-up, right, of this episode of Sports Talk Soup. But the Celtics would have gone what? Maybe it would have been sweat, would have gone 5 games. I mean, who would have picked the Celtics to go more than 5 games with the Rockets even? Either the Rockets or the Warriors, Blair.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think they would have won against the Warriors. But, I mean, I said it time and time again, and the Celtics, boy, are they something to look forward to.
Yes, they are.
Jason Tatum, you got to give a guy his credit. You got to give a guy his credit who starts off tweeting LeBron James to ask him, will he follow him? And then he goes on. He got dunked on. That was game 6. And LeBron, manhandled him, right? But then game 7, Jay Tatum came out and he's like, I'm going to do my thing too. And he kind of bumped LeBron James. So
I saw that. He kind of tried to show him who's boss. To the king? He's the king. You better be bowing down to the king, Jason Tatum. Tatum had a great series, by the way.
No bowing
and man,
down.
so much to watch out for. You're right, from that Celtics squad as it moves forward.
Sure.
And with guys coming back healthy for next season, and Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward. Now, maybe there is some roster shakeup. There could be a trade or two made, maybe of Irving, of Hayward. But Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, both with the Y, by the way, in their first name, they're both going to be back. And that Celtics team as assembled right now, you're right, definitely something to watch out for in future seasons, Blair.
For sure. I look forward to it. And then there are other teams, not to get away from the finals and where we are, but there are other teams developing. And you know what? To kind of wrap that all up, it's good for the league to have these two teams in the finals that are there. It's kind of like we got a preview of what next season was going to be like. And then we've got all the kind of good history with Golden State and the Cavs. So ticket sales are probably going to be phenomenal for all of these teams where we kind of saw these streaks of greatness out there. So from a business perspective, I think the league is more than happy with the turnout this year in the finals.
And it will be a ratings bonanza. And the deeper it goes, the longer the series goes, 6 or 7 games, even more of a ratings bonanza. And speaking of getting tickets, you're going to be there anyways. You don't even need a ticket. You're going to be there for free. Get all this instant access. Great. Well, on the court, it might be a sideline report. I don't know what you're going to do. Broadcasting the game or something. Game 6, you said you'll be there for if it goes to 6 games, Blair?
Yeah, I will. You know what? I'll be working. I will be working, so
as a
I'm not
you're
sure.
a professional, not really enjoying it as you're taking it all in, but still, I mean, that's going to be enjoyable, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'll get a chance to view the game in a perspective, from a fan perspective. But I definitely will get a chance to feel that energy and be around the greatness that both teams represent. And you kind of let the cat out of the bag. I didn't know I wasn't telling anybody.
Going to be put you on the spot.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. But
that's okay.
It's about your professional career, and you should tout yourself up because that's a great honor, a great opportunity. For yourself, too, definitely.
Definitely a great opportunity. And I wrote this a while ago on my social media, and we've got just a minute to go.
Sure.
But I really, really mean this. You have to learn how to appreciate. We're in such a me world, and the emphasis has to be on yourself, but take time to recognize the greatness in your life. And this is not necessarily from athletes and professionals and always the people who are making millions. We passed Mother's Day, Father's Day is coming up. Don't forget those people in your life who exemplify greatness, and understand what greatness is aside from just materialistic things. And I took a whole nother spin, but seriously, as I'm working, that's what I'm going to be thinking about. Those are the moments I'm going to cherish. That's going to be my motivation to kind of get to the next level and continue on in my career, Vito.
That's a lesson out of the playbook of Blair Glover. Should I look into the camera now and say, I'm going to just recognize and bow down and honor the greatness of Blair Glover as we wrap up this week's episode of Sports Talk Soup. A great episode, had a little bit of technical difficulties,
little
but
bit.
we made our way through it. We trucked it out. We were tough and got the job done for the most part with Rashad on the phone line or via my cell phone. Great Samsung S8 or something. So worked out and not too shabby on our parts, I think, too. Now we'll enjoy the NBA Finals, Blair, huh?
For sure. Thank you guys for tuning in to Sports Talk Soup, episode number 6, and thanks, Rashad, for joining us.
Adios.
Bye.